Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. It is Ali, you guys. Decided to go live because I just happen to be sitting in one of my favorite restaurants over in the San Antonio area in California, and they have fantastic Wi-Fi. And I'm gonna sit here for a bit and have a cocoa day meal and enjoy myself. So I thought I'd go live and reflect on my 40-minute walk over here from my apartment about why Americans want to date people outside of America. Please chime in, you guys. Thank y'all for always tuning in. I appreciate you guys immensely. I am y'all's eccentric nomad, and I'm coming to you guys today with a little eccentricity. Yeah. Happy Thanksgiving. For those who are partaking in food, those who are still waiting to eat, blink an eye if you're starving. I let those, just FYI, I'm big on let's celebrate each other the other 365 days out of the year that are not dedicated to a Hallmark holiday. Make sure we give thanks to one another regularly without being told to do so. And make sure y'all tell me happy Friday tomorrow. Should I get a happy Thanksgiving today? Can we do Thanksgiving every day? I'm down for it. If you're checking in, please let me know where you're checking in from. Y'all, like I said, I'm from Cali. I'm in Cali right now. All right, so let's talk about dating. This topic is always going to be on rotation, y'all. And just a preface. Is it preface or preface? I did a video yesterday giving my top 3 travel destinations to visit for 2022. If y'all are still trying to figure out where to go for December, check out my list. I give you 6 cities, 3 different countries, 2 continents. So North America, 3 continents. North America, Africa, and Southeast Asia. Check out that list, y'all. And I also have a poll for you guys to tell me what should be my next video topic, but I thought I'd throw this one out here because I just felt like doing it. So just dig on in, you guys. Just in general, I think the first thing when somebody talks about I'm gonna go find somebody in another country, and ironically I happen to be in one of those countries that typically a lot of men, regardless of their race, especially in America, always talk about coming to get their wife, and that is Colombia. And I see why, y'all. So I started questioning a couple of things on my long walk over here, and a lot of things that we, as if you're a non-traveler, you think are synonymous to who you are, and it's body type and appearance, sultriness, I don't know, exoticness, whatever. And let me start this by saying travel is the most gracious and piercing instructor I've ever had my entire life, in terms of how it hits you with the reality. I'm gonna use this word, irregardless of what you think you've known all your life, right? What you've been taught, what you've been shown, what you've been coerced into believing. Let me say this. When I pick places to go or pick places to stay, a lot of times it does boil down to where I feel comfortable, where I feel most comfortable, where I feel like I don't stick out like a sore thumb, even though I don't mind being different. When you start looking at long-term, the possibility of staying somewhere long-term, you start to look for commonalities. You look for things that make you feel comfortable, things that make you feel like, you might potentially have some camaraderie with people, develop some relationships, learn some cultural things, and not be afraid. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the biggest thing is how nice is it to walk around and nobody even looks at you funny. A couple places that I was surprised until I understood more of the history, surprised about why I was kind of just, oh, what's the word I want to look for? The word I want to say, just stared at. What's the best word? I was very surprised in Africa. Senegal, not as much, but on the East Coast, especially in Kenya, which was weird to me because it's English speaking, and so you would think that they have a lot of interaction. But I got a lot of the, people can tell you're not a native. They can tell you're not a native simply by what you look like. And so, we have this thing we talk about, guys, I have my lunch, my Thanksgiving dinner. It's falafel with a big salad. Y'all, this is 9,000 COP, which is less than $2. Plus my Beano, which is 7,000. This is actually almost more than this whole plate of food, and this is like $1.50. So this is like a $3.50 meal with tax $4. I'll let you girl. Okay, so anyway, and so you go to places sometimes, and you have this expectation that because we as Americans, we say black, that you just fit in. And that's not the case. You don't. Because while we look at racism as a big thing, a lot of other places see color, like shades, hues. Colorism is big. And I did ask a couple times when I was in Kenya, when I was in Tanzania as well, but mostly Kenya, because I was so surprised. I was just totally outdone. I was like, why? I had to ask somebody, I said, why are they staring at me? I'm like, I'm blind just like they are. I was like, what's the big deal? When I talk about stare, I'm talking about like CDMX stare. I'm talking about, like, I didn't even get stared at like this in China. And somebody said, it's your color. And I said, black. And they were like, no. I had many of arguments on the East Coast when I would say I'm black. And they refuse and argue with me and call me white. Because they don't look at it as a race. They simply look at it as a color. And because my complexion, on this camera I look lighter than I actually am. I don't know why it's kind of showing. I really feel like I'm dark. That might be another thing too. Like I'm black and black, right? I really think I am though. I think this is like not doing me good justice. Let me see if I turn it towards the light. Carolina, will I get dark? Maybe a little. See, that's a little hint of color. Anyway, what I was told is they're enamored by it and just in awe because they don't see it. And then I had another girl in Mombasa tell me she had never actually met an American black person. She said she'd seen us on TV, but she'd never actually met one. And I was like, really? And then it dawned on me where I was and how hard that is for Americans on 5 days, 7 day vacations, very rarely 7 days, but 5 day vacations, to go somewhere that's going to take you 17 to 20 hours to get there each way. It's like a whole day, and most people aren't willing to do that for a 3-day trip. You know what I'm saying? And so travel really clarified some things for me in terms of how we view each other in North America, how other people view us outside of that, And then how much there's such a correlation because of the mixing. So one of the other things that I understood, because I think a lot of times we think that, we're the only ones and there's nobody like us anywhere. And I'm going to tell you, when you start to travel, you start to see how much you start to blend in with other people. And to kind of go back to why and when and how I pick places that I actually like to stay, a big part of it is based on, do I blend into a point where I don't stand out and have to worry about, number one, people staring at me. Because one of the things that happens when people stare at you and they think you're an anomaly, they start to fetishize you, not necessarily as a black woman, but just as, okay, well, we know you're foreign. I'm trying to blend in this joint. I just want to blend into it until I open my mouth. And that's one of the things I will tell you about Colombia. You literally can come over here white, black, Asian. Well, Asian you gonna probably stand. No, over here too. In this joint too. I feel like this is, out of all the places I've been, one of the true melting pots, because you can't tell who speaks Spanish and who doesn't until they open their mouths. Like when I walk up and down the street, I don't get bothered at all. I don't, until I open my mouth and they're like, what's wrong with her tongue? I'm still just like, what does she sound like that? Otherwise, no. I look like any old regular person here. And on top of that, like even with my hair, one of the things I like here is that you'll see such a mix of black women and hairstyles and wearing their natural hair. So it's not one of those things like when I was in Africa, when I had my hair twisted. Before I locked it, like this is more permanent. Before I locked it, and everybody would just like be Rasta, because for them that was so different to have your hair twisted. And I was like, why? You guys wear your hair locked. Like, why is it different? There was so much more colors. Mila Kenya is one of my top picks. I was so surprised at how we stood out. And so today I was walking, and it occurred to me, I even have this belief of dating outside of the U.S. And I'm going to tell you guys why.
Buenas tardes, bienvenido, ¿cómo está?
It was never a thing that agitated me when people would say that they wanted to date outside of their country. I think what bothers me and most people is when, I'm going to date somebody else because you women isn't it? Just date somebody else. Shut up and just date somebody else. How about that? Right? We don't need you here because you hate black women and it's always directed towards us. So we honestly don't care about that. You want to date somebody else, right? But what I found is when you start to travel more, it opens up your horizons more. So you have your vision of what you not necessarily tolerate, but what appeals to you changes, right? And so for me, when I thought about, the fact that my scope for dating was so limited before, it was so limited because, I was only thinking about who I had seen and encountered, come across in the United States. And then when you travel and you start to see that people a lot of times value you simply because of who you are. They haven't had to dig deep and go deep into color and why we're angry. You know what I'm saying? And that comes afterwards because it's not something I'm gonna tell you guys right now. It's when you go to another country, all of that doesn't disappear. But one thing that I will say is removing yourself from negative energies, including where you live, makes a huge difference and an impact on your well-being and your psyche. It really, really does, because if I walk every day, if I sit in, places that are negative all the time, that's going to have a negative impact on me, whether I want to admit that or not. It's going to have a negative impact. And so what I realized is that by moving, living somewhere else, moving around, learning other cultures, I can look at what I claim to be near and dear and true to me, which is living in the States, as my base. But I can see it without prejudice. Well, with prejudice, but without like this bondage that I have to gravitate back to it. Like, we have cultural things as Black people that we just are and that we just do. And I realize that sometimes those cultural things are the very things that keep us from embracing something else. It keeps us from embracing the possibility of the very things that we complain that we don't have access to, don't get, whether it's dating, whether it's living, whether it's freedom, whether it's sanity. Let me know if it's too loud in here, you guys. One thing that they do in other countries is talk really loud everywhere. And I'm eating, which I think is always a thing. So, my point of this is, why do Americans date outside, choose to date people who are American? He's a little dog. This little dog is always trying to fight somebody. In addition to this, why do we get angry when we want to date people from another country? And I'm going to say this. One thing that I don't like is when we are taking advantage of other people because they don't know, because we can control them, things like that I don't like. And you do see that a lot. One of the things I've noticed a lot since I've been here is a lot of videos from Black men. Or maybe just one dude in particular, because he pops up all the time, and I'm like, why is he in my feed? But he talks a lot about crime in Colombia. And the last video I saw, he's talking about, as it relates to dating, being drugged, a friend of his that was recently killed a month or so ago, big YouTuber, all of that. And I was just like, as I'm listening and I'm watching, I'm like, why every week does he have a video about being drugged and mugged? And this happened to him. And I was like, is this sensationalism? Like, is he literally just rolling off of the algorithm that says this is what people want to hear about? Like, is this really happening? Because when I walk around, of course, I'm not out at the late hours of the night. I'm not out here scouting either for a spouse. And I have certain criteria as well. So I'm not even I'm attracted from a physical perspective because the people here it's a beautiful people here. And they got long hair too. I have a long hair fetish thing. Cool child. Anyway, like that Jason Momoa thing, I got all that. It was Fabio before because he was the closest to me. When Jason came out, I was like, that. So, like, I don't just want it simply because there's unless I'm actually planning on moving here, buying land or something like that, there's really no benefit for me, because of where I am in my life, to go from where I was to taking care of different people, and people work and do all that kind of thing. But what I find is when people realize that you are foreign, they treat you like you're foreign. All of a sudden now it's a come up. It's all of that. But for me, when I think about dating, outside of the U.S., my preference changed to only wanting, or not only, but limited dating in the U.S. and really opening the door and exploring dating outside of the U.S. because of how people treated me, people, i.e., men from the U.S., because I travel so much. So they basically set it up for me to only want to date, consider dating, open up the opportunity to date outside of the U.S. because of this drawn in, single tunnel vision. When are you coming back home? When are you going to stop traveling? When are you going to sit still? And what I realized for me is I'm looking to date somebody who is not married to a tradition that they hate. So as Black people, I find that the very things that we hate, we celebrate. And we don't know how to separate ourselves and become our own people. And because of that, we stay in turmoil. And so, like, if I've always thought of dating a Black man. And so you always, you go through these, hey Shana, you go through life, and you literally, I'm sorry, somebody was with a child was in front of me. Yeah, it's a restaurant. And that's the thing. Like, when they see you sitting in these restaurants too, they figure you got money, so, people are totally in here. Anyway, I don't have any cash on me today, so it is Thanksgiving. Actually, I do have some. Okay, anyway, I just got sidetracked. What was I saying? Okay, I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. So, what was happening for me is men were starting to set the standard in the U.S. for me to really, and I mean, this literally happened within the last 12 months, because I had really been focused on dating, and it started to, kind of roll up again at the end of last year, or middle of last year, and I was just like, I love this life I'm living, and I want to do it more. And it became more and more evident that finding American men, and especially if my preference is a Black man, to find that and still be happy. And then I started getting all these visions and reminders of people that are close to me who didn't follow their dreams, who got in relationships with people because they're supposed to, and they're miserable. And I said to myself, self said, what? Why would you repeat that? You know how they say we repeat things over and over? Why would you repeat that? And it occurred to me, the very thing you want may not be in the shell that you think that it's supposed to be in. And I know y'all might be sitting there going, but golly, you're the most open person. I'm surprised you haven't already. At that point in time, I hadn't really thought about it because I don't date around. Just FYI, I just don't. It's not my thing. And I wasn't thinking about dating. I was on more of a self-care journey than I even knew myself. A self-care journey, right? And so when it started to come down to, well, what do I want to do? What do I want to be? And I would love to share this with somebody. I was like, who? How many men have I met who are in my DMs or on my messages? People watch me for 7 years now. Letting me know they've been watching me for 7 years that never speak up. But clearly, never would consider living this type of life. Why would I even consider it? So in my opinion, there's tiers and levels to this dating outside of America. There are some people who go and do it simply because, like, you have these people in these groups who only talk about, yeah, I'm gonna go out and get a submissive wife, I'm going to get this and that, and I'm like, go do you, boo, go do you, because everybody in other places ain't that submissive. I've seen these Spanish women. Yeah, they're gonna cook your food for you. Yeah, they're gonna make your table. They're gonna do all that. But don't think that just because they're waiting on you hand and foot that I get it though. They cute. They cute, and you think they don't come with baggage. And so I know a lot of people go to Southeast Asia because they're looking for like more demure women. And the thing is but women in the U.S. can be very demure. I had somebody make a comment to me yesterday. I posted something about hugging with some lions. And this person said, you would never let anybody hug you. And I said, a man who knows me knows the truth. So you don't know me. And I would never respond to you in a positive way if that's how you would, that's your first response to me. And so men don't get how off-putting they are a lot of times when they can't figure out how to break that mold. The problem is you don't fit. Right? A lot of times the reason why things don't work out and we're miserable and all this is because we're still trying to get a square peg to fit in a round hole. Right? And I am so grateful that I have gotten an opportunity to explore the idea of new pegs and new holes. Hexagons and triangles and you name it. Greens, beans, potatoes, tomatoes, green. Yeah, I've been wanting to sing that song all day today. I've been wanting to sing it. Here we go. Okay, I'm just playing. Sean, what's your experience? What's your thought? And I know you are getting out here in the world. You are restarting your nomadic journey. But it bothers me, let me rephrase that. When people try to put you into a box and assume that because of who you are and who you look like, you have to want this, that, and the other. One thing I don't want to do, I have no desire, no passion to do, and I'm going to find Tracy Ellis Ross's little snippet of the interview that she had where she was talking about, of course, I would love a significant other, but not at the expense of losing myself. So what a lot of times we don't understand is when we start to realize and find that we literally can find happiness defined a different way, we are looking for the man who is willing to define that with us another way. The other thing is when, and I think this falls for anybody who starts to look for somebody to date outside of their home base. We just say it a little different. We're looking for someone who molds with you better, right? You're looking for somebody who adjusts, who knows how to adjust, who has the ability and the capacity to adjust. I'm going to throw this out here. One of the reasons why Americans start to date, outside of America, why black women, maybe I should name this, why black women are starting to decide to date outside of America. And it isn't so much we're saying that men around the world are so much better than American men, but there's some vast differences. I'm gonna tell you guys. I'm gonna hip y'all to some game. The same thing that men walk around wanting more submissive and demure women, not realizing all you gotta do is be a leader, and you're gonna get a submissive and a demure woman, and then stay in your lane so that you can get the woman that is ideally designed for you. Because we all screw up on that. We all want the eye candy that we just that just does not fit any criteria that we say we got a whole list of stuff, but then we find somebody who's fine, and they just don't match up, and we wonder why it doesn't work. Okay, get off my soapbox. I'm sorry, but going through the process of identifying, or we'll just say identifying the key things that you want. What drives you? What makes you happy? And not settling. And I know a lot of people are like, yeah, but I want to have kids. Yeah, I want to be married. Okay, so this is what I'm gonna say. To wanting to have kids and wanting to be married. What if you could marry somebody? I mean, if you're gonna do it anyway, and you're gonna be babysitting and taking care of people anyway. I'm not generalizing. But if you're going to be doing stuff like that anyway, why not at least benefit from it? Why not at least get somebody that you could buy land in another country? Do your research, ladies. Why not at least benefit from having the ability, you're going to have babies. Your baby's got dual citizenship. Men are not the only ones that can take advantage of marrying outside of their home base. If you're going to do it with purpose. Do it and be intentful about it. You know what I'm saying? But make sure that the person can give you something. It doesn't have to be a one-off trade of dollars to dollars. But if they can give you something that, like from scratch. She was with Leno. They're both on similar levels. Just getting started, figuring out life, all of that. But in the end, what did she get? She got the family's land. In Italy. Okay, Sicily. Whatever. It's all the same to me, right? She got land, and not just a little land. She got land. So what I'm suggesting strongly is that we start thinking more about our future, the future that everybody else wants to define for us. I am a 50-year-old woman who already has a 31-year-old son and grandbabies. And so for me, being married to have children that doesn't even hit no. Color don't matter when color don't matter. Fine is fine. Okay, let me get my thought right, and then Shannon, I'm going to read your comments. We have to start thinking about what the benefit is for us as women, and stop being on this back burner thinking that you want a corporate man. I'm going to throw this out here. For me, and this man can listen in and go, oh, okay, take a lesson. Women, figure out what it is you want from a man. And for me, this isn't just what I want from a man. This is what I want from my circle, my nucleus circle that I am revisiting, every time I grow and learn. And that is, I want survivors and thrivers. So I want people who actually can function. If the worst of the worst happens, do you know how to do anything? Can you fix anything? Or can you do anything besides go and work behind a desk? And that's not just directed towards me. That's just people in general. Do we know how to do anything? Can we survive? Can you figure out if we stuck in the woods and we have a Hunger Games situation, which one to eat? Because what I find is a lot of times we can't. And for me, a man who does not have the ability to do anything with his hands is not really a turn on for me. Of course, I want a man who's well-rounded, got a little bit of sense and everything. Attractive, his own level of swag. I don't even care the color no more. I really don't. Because I've dated black all my life. I'm still single. Because I wasn't dating who I am. I was dating who liked me, who was enamored by me. But they didn't like me. Because after it's like dating a stripper and then telling her to stop stripping. And a stripper. I'm just playing. Okay. All right, Shanice. I got on this move abroad journey after acknowledging I might grow old alone and needed to find a place I can retire comfortably. Okay, that's how it starts. Should I swear that's how it starts? I'm sorry, I eat a little bit. I need to get a little bit of wine. That's how it starts, right? And then when you get there, you're like, wait a minute. I kind of like this. I can do this. This is easy. It's easy. I feel as if there's no black man that embraces black female empowerment that I will truly align with. Now I myself to appreciate black men for whatever short period I can enjoy them. So this is, I'm going to say this. I posted something on Facebook and it was about meeting people where they are, if they even want to meet. Acknowledging people for where they are. Instead of saying, well, I'm going to wait until they get there. I'm going to wait until they figure out. No, boo, there is no wait. I'm not talking to you. I'm just talking out loud. There is no wait. There is no, well, I'm going to wait until he gets there. I'm going to wait. This is who I need to, and same for men. Well, okay, fine, I'm going to marry her since she want to be married to her. If all you want to do is screw her, keep it real. If you just want to have somebody on your arm or you want to have beautiful babies and that kind of thing, then say that. Do what Janet did. Hey, boo, let's do this. Let's make sure that we take care of our children and our lineage. Let's do this and let's do a 5-year. And that 5-year, day one, 5 hours later, let's care for this and go about our business. It's a business deal. The simple fact that we keep thinking that it's not a business deal is just tripping me out. So yes, enjoy them. But take the self-care time that you have to start saying, am I compromising myself? So like if you reach everything, you get everything you want, and the last thing is companionship, and you realize that there is no one who looks like you, or very limited, and the ones that you see that look like you ain't looking for you, because they out there doing what this title say, is looking for people outside of their home base. You're not going to go come to Columbia and go find a black man looking for a black woman. Now, he might be like, oh, God, I didn't know it was cold like that. You might run upon somebody, but no. When I was in Thailand, there were black men in Thailand. You think any of them interested in me? No, they got Asian women. They're not interested in me. I wasn't interested in them because none of them fine. But I'm just saying. I also realized my definition of fine changes based on the skill sets you have. And I mean in all areas as well, right? And this is why travel educates us, especially as women, because we have been told that you can't do anything until you get married, you have children, your children are grown and doing well, and then everybody we know is divorcing. 30 years of marriage, 35 years of marriage, 40 years of marriage. How do I travel solo now? How do I do all this stuff solo now? Definitely start. Hey, Colette, I'm sorry, sweetheart, I missed you. I just been running my mouth up in this joint. Happy Thanksgiving, ladies. I'll send you a happy Friday as well, because I do not discriminate on days. I do not discriminate. I don't celebrate Hallmark holidays per se. I acknowledge them, but it's a day of a day. The only day I really focus on is birthdays. Anybody's birthday that's important to me. A little tidbit that I didn't ask for, but you want to hear it, here it go. I want a man that's a problem solver, a fixer, solution oriented. And you have that in a lot of different things. But imagine getting that with somebody who knows how to make money too, who's been around the world, who can get in a car and just drive anywhere and give you exposure to places and areas that you probably can't just drive to on your own. For me, freedom is no boundaries. So why would I create them? Why would I have more hardships? But I don't have to. I've done 50 years of hardship, and people don't understand that. People struggle with that. And it's the same as anybody who decides to date outside of their home base. A lot of times they're doing it because they don't want any more hardship, regardless if we agree with it or not. The bottom line is people are done fighting over remedial things. I'm not about to fight you to get somebody who naturally, without me telling him, knows how to love me right. I'm sorry. I've only dated black men too, and like you, I've always allowed them to choose me. No more. Can we say no more? Listen, Shana, all you need to do is get one place, even if you don't want none of the ones that want you. When you get to one place and it's the people that come at you that you're just like, but wait, you said Russian. Wait, you said Northern European. You said German. The one thing that we have to learn is don't screw it up, don't miss the boat, and don't think too hard about it. So this is why I tell people start traveling, start getting some exposure, because you don't want to miss the boat when that boat comes, because you're now looking and going, why are you interested in me? We don't ask black men that. Not to say that they are or are not good for us, but we don't ask them. And I understand there's this history that we have, and so yeah, you want to do, kind of do a dig in, ask or whatever, and figure out what it is. But I'm gonna tell you one thing I do know for sure is when you encounter people when you're traveling and you're nomading and they know that you're in places, most people are engaging in people for sexual, relations. So just approach it that way. And I wish I would have thought of that in this last year, but I learned quick. So you have a couple choices: join in because that's what you want, fulfillment in that area, or decline it. But also begin to understand they still don't just pick anything. Understand they don't just pick anything. Okay, right. Wait time is over. I am more vocal about what and who doesn't serve me now. Come on. Don't be afraid to let go of the things that no longer serve you. Don't get stuck in the fear. So, a lot of times we sit and we're just like, okay, this ain't working, but we don't move. We don't do anything that propels us to the next level. And I already know you are because, we was on that other chat talking about, also don't be discouraged if you got to go back. Because once you get a taste of what it is your heart desires, and you're like, whoa. I'm not saying when you go abroad everything is perfect and these men is right, because they ain't. But what they do is they come at you with what they want initially, which is sex. What man don't want sex? Y'all gonna stop lying. What man, and I ain't talking about y'all. What man does not want sex who approaches you? I'll wait. If Jesus was here, he'd be like, hell, I'll wait. I mean, come on. What man don't want sex? Because as a very fruitful woman, I want it too. So let's keep it real, right? Okay. I'm sorry. Let me get myself right. Now I won't look twice at a black man who doesn't have a passport. Let that be number one. Listen, that was my first part. But let me tell you how I've upgraded past having a passport, past having stamps, past having used it, and past having not just a consideration, but demonstrating living abroad outside of home base, which is wherever you grew up, for longer periods of time. Like I struggle with even dating who never moved out of their city. You don't have nothing you can offer me. You've never lived out of your city. Like our conversations don't match. And that's what I mean. Like a lot of people think that that's offensive to say. It's not offensive. It's no different than a man going to another country to get a wife. It's not offensive. That's his preference. If you have not beyond considered living somewhere and living the life that I live is a little bit different, right? Like I can do van life with the right person. I can do van life. And I don't know enough people who can do it, right? Who are handy, who know how to survive, who can get us through thick or thin, who I would trust with my life. And having that one experience, two experiences, three experiences with people that literally, regardless of where they come from or whatever, have been exposed to enough to know or feel or just do because they have that access. This is where our background comes in and we have to stifle it. Learn how to have these conversations with people because they're going to, our racist situations and life that we live is going to rear its ugly head. So you got to be able to have the conversations, but also don't let those things hold you back. And that's why building these circles is so important. New energies. Like I was like, man, it's great to meet people that, you can connect with. You look at, you be like Black Power and all that, but to a certain extent, like you want to limit that because Black Power and always focusing on the negative keeps you here when we're not here anymore. We've actually considered moving beyond that. So how do we survive beyond that? But also let me educate you to why what that is right there that we just saw is triggering. Okay? And being able to do that subtly and with care. The softness that they say that we don't have, but I guarantee you'll have it when that person touches your stomach and you're like, I don't even know you. Okay, I'm sorry. I had a flashback. If I meet a problem solver, he tends to be so arrogant and narcissistic that I can't tolerate him too long. Okay, so let me tell you this. I love very non-conventional men. People in general. Just people in general. So when I meet somebody and they're living outside of the that network and they really want to live that life, the first thing I thought of this past year when I experienced this was, here's me. You think about how many Black men would fulfill this. I don't know any. Because when they get to that level of what I ended up encountering from somebody who was so humble, like, oh, okay, it's not even that it's not a big deal, it is what it is, But when we get to something like that, we're pompous, we're, like you said, narcissistic, we don't even know how to run it, manage it, fix it, troubleshoot. We don't know how to do anything. And I come from a space of troubleshooting because that's just how I was raised, unintentionally, because things just weren't getting done. And so I just learned to just do it on my own because I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to argue with you over what just needs to be done. I'm just not doing it. I'm not doing it. I ain't arguing with nobody over what needs to be done. This is why I'm by myself, because I would do it myself, right? And so when you meet somebody and they simply just get it done, and they don't look like you. They don't look like what you're told you're supposed to. Okay. Let's talk about this. Not saying everything is perfect, but sometimes those encounters are for us to discover and understand what it feels like to be treated the way we want to be treated. So when you encounter that person, whether they look like you or not, make sure, hold on you guys, let me make sure this, my system don't restart, so at 5:20 I'm gonna get off because it looks like my system is gonna reboot and I can't reset it. But what you want is, the biggest teacher is being able to experience something so that you can at least make an educated decision about what it is that you want. And one of the things that my journey is to show my journey, but also to assist people with how to get past the honeymoon stage of vacation, how to get past the fear of long-term travel and start thinking about how to actually go beyond surviving and thriving in it, right? Like I redid my whole what's my purpose here, and just netting down to what it is that I really, 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 really want, and that is to show other people the way, and that you can actually do this, but not everybody is set for this. Not everybody is willing to let go of the glam. I was in a group and a girl was like, I'm past the point of struggling. I want these amenities. And that's fine, you can have all that, but it's not the circle that I'm looking for. Like, I'm looking more for people who are simply like past the material things, because it's material things. That's the one. Like, if I encounter, I'll be like a hot air oven and a blender. I'll be like, stop. Oh. No, but like beyond some of the material things, like they're like, we're gonna be on the road or whatever for 6 months, so we got to plan for it. And you know how to do it, you know how to fix the engine, you know how to do this and that and the other. You got that confidence that by demonstration, not by talk. Come on, sexy. That's got like Thor tendencies all over. Okay. I'm so guilty of asking, why are you interested in me? There's nothing wrong with that. What I find is what happens is we have been taught not to do that in the U.S. because we make men feel inferior. Typically, our own black men feel inferior. But I'm telling you, if you do that in another country and you just come out and say, because most people are on Tinder. I don't use Tinder, but a lot of people will, just come out and say, hey, is this for sex? And they'll be like, yeah. Boom. Yeah. Do you like me? Well, and what they'll say is they ultimately want to see if the sex is good, to see if it's even worth pursuing. What's so wrong with that? I know I'm live, and I know, people might see this that might be like, oh my God, Ali. But what is so wrong with that? What is so wrong with hearing from the get-up that somebody is, listen, and we don't do it. Like, I find you attractive, otherwise I wouldn't have walked over here. But I want to see if the good is good. What's so wrong with that? We're adults. I'm 50 years old. Stop playing with me. I'll end the situationship quick now. Avoid men who hasn't ventured outside the city limits, or men who, my comments, why do they keep disappearing? Who have never, oh my God, a man who ain't never been on a plane, ain't nothing you can do for me. Because my flights be 16 hours, and that's one leg. And that's the beginning of happiness. There's nothing more attractive than good treatment. The thought of him fixing that engine is a girl. We'll have to talk offline about. And one of the things that you get here, everybody, that PDA is real. Like, they be in the middle of the street and they'll start kissing, and I just be like, I want one. No fear, no shame. It's like not a big deal. I can respect a man being brutally but tactfully honest. And that's the thing. We have to start to dismantle all of the negative things that we have associated with being in a relationship. We want subtlety, but we want someone who comes fiercely. Well, how can they do that? You want somebody who's honest and tells you what he wants, but you don't want him to be honest and tell you that he just wants sex. Boo. And then you get to a point where you're just like, okay, well, how do I deal with that? Like, I want more. You deal with it. You tell them, I want more. You don't get caught up and then have no way out, which is what we do. We've been trained in Western world, because the whole goal is to get married and to entrap people, whether it's men or women, entrapping each other. We just entrap each other, and then we put it all in the name of family. We put it in the name of personal property. You do all of that stuff with will. Stop lying to people, telling people you got to physically be married to somebody. Like, I have to destroy somebody's livelihood because my intentions aren't right, because the system says that that's what I'm supposed to do. because I can't go in the hospital and make a decision. That's what living wills are for. If you are that determined to do right by somebody, then get your stuff together. Update it as many times as you need to. Because I'm going to tell you something, prenups, living wills, all that kind of stuff, were not intended for us everyday people because we didn't have the money. You know, we ain't got no money to be like somebody eating over. We ain't got no property. I mean, some of us don't, some of us do. So those are the things, like, for me, it's not about all that menial stuff, right? If I can figure out how to survive, and I haven't worked in over 2 years, if I can figure out how to survive, what I'm looking for is somebody who also understands conceptually how to survive, but is also thriving and got this and that and working this and working that. Being in $10 million conversations is a whole different world. It's a whole different world. And I'm not talking about pompous $10 million conversations that tell you to stifle who you are. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about the ones that are truly about business. Well, in order to do this is what I need. So you coming with this kind of money? That's what we gotta do. I may acknowledge that I want more, but it doesn't have to come from Mr. Right now. That's right. Experiencing it is enough to help you start making decisions. But so for me, what I ended up doing, without knowing, is living my life and going through this self-care journey since 2018. So when last year, 2021 hit, and this small manifestation that I didn't even know, I was sitting there and going, I'm young, like I want a relationship at some point. And I literally had to like be honest, and I was like, the people that you consider that, you know, are in your back, you know, in the back room talking to you and all of this, what's the probability that they're not going to try to drag you back to the bottomless pit of hell because that's all they know? That's where they're comfortable. They don't care about you and what you want. They just know you want a man. And you're willing to give yourself up. But no, I'm not. Because guess what? It's over 7 billion people in the world, and over 50% of them are men's. So we start to equate, well, you know, I want a man who got good money, who can handle this and who can handle that and all this stuff. That's great. But oftentimes we see people who have power and money in certain places, specifically the Western world, they, like you said earlier, the term narcissistic, I try to move that word from my vocabulary because it isn't just negative in its own right. But yeah, like is that what you want? And so what I had to uncover is, who am I? Men's. The men's says, my, I can never remember the staff's name. She here every day. And I need another glass of Beano. Either that, I'm gonna have something. Yeah, I'm gonna have another glass of Beano here. I gotta get her attention. What time is it, y'all? Okay, I got 10 more minutes. Colette, I have had the marriage, 2 of them. I have the kids, boom, 2 of them. I have the home, oh shit. At 56, an empty nester and retired, I'm looking for companionship, good conversation, and someone who can play. Ow! Hold on, Colette, you just set the bar. How many people can play chess? How many people understand the game of chess? Just the whole minute. Have y'all ever watched The Queen's Gambit? That is such a good Netflix series. But the chess game is such real life. What we're doing in the U.S., doing what everybody's telling us we need to do, is we're being pawns. We're literally pawning it. We're literally sitting and allowing somebody else to dictate our level of happiness. When how can they? They don't know each and every one of us. So why do Americans go outside of their country to find love, marriage, relationships, to date, all of that? Because we realize that some, like I said, I started earlier, some people simply just want somebody that they can manipulate because they can't manipulate the masculine women anymore. Just touch on that masculine woman thing. But then some of it is, in my case, you start to realize that no one matches you naturally without telling you that they got to work on themselves, they got to get it together. Ladies, do not feel bad when you meet somebody and they're like, oh my God, yeah, I want to do that too. I want to do that. Wanting to do it and doing it, I've dealt with it. I've been with. Don't wake up 10 years from now because now you're invested in somebody who wasn't even invested in you because all they wanted was to lock you down. And my thing is, why? Why when there's somebody who matches your caliber? Because we don't date at the caliber that we're at. We date what we visually just are intrigued by. Intrigue does not bring me your intrigue does not bring me happiness if we don't even start on the same level. And it took me a while, y'all. Like I look back at all the people that, and I don't date very many people, but I just sit there and you're just like, why? And then why did I stay? Like, why did I torment myself? For what? Because I didn't know how. I didn't know how to walk away. We've been so trained to put up with BS, which then creates this masculine exterior, which is natural. Because if you can't be naturally feminine, you are going to naturally take care of business. So when men say, I want a woman who's more feminine, well, be masculine. And you'll naturally get them. You don't have to go anywhere else to find that. And honestly, we would probably find the men we're looking for if that was a thing. But what happens is even us being explorers of this free world, being people who want to see something outside of the everyday, what we're used to, where we realize that this globe is pretty big, finding other people who aspire for the same thing is so limited. And so specifically, I feel like we as Black women get the short end of the stick because we have been programmed to only want a Black man. We have been programmed to believe the hardships and, only think of what negativity Black men went through in slavery with displacement and all the negative things that, just our culture went through. But then we just place ourselves in this whole thing. We stop considering the fact that we went through some things too. And we still are expected to perform. We're still expected now we are expected to una más, por favor, gracias. We're expected to fill in the gap, take care of the kids, do all these things, then get challenged and talked about because we're masculine, because we have to be, and then not have anybody give us a chance. But as soon as you kind of step outside of that bubble and you start to see people who just thought you were cute, we'll deal with the other stuff later, but I just thought you were cute. We don't even know how to handle it. We don't know how to manage that. You know what I'm saying? We got to give ourselves grace. We got to give ourselves time. We got to give ourselves the ability to love, not just ourselves, but love what it is that we naturally flow towards. We fight it, which is why we don't receive. We fight what who we naturally are because, and this isn't everybody because we're all so different, but it goes to prove that we're not the same. We're not put here to be the same. Colette says he can go home or he can stay over. Either way, I'm cool. Basically, grown folks. Listen. Now we're gonna have to have like a silent conversation. I watched the Queen's Gambit, very good. We talking. Now I need to go buy me some. let's have a offline discussion, because then we can have some real conversations. I try not to put too much. I put some stuff out there because it kind of opens the door for people to kind of dig in and go, oh, this is possible. Oh, this is okay. But I'm also learning stop sharing so much, because you start getting a lot of different negative energies that are attaching themselves to your plight and your movement and your walk. And I'm not here to defend my walk with anybody. God ain't asked me, because God designed it. I look back now and wonder, what was I thinking when I allow myself some grace? Everyone goes low sometimes. The key is not getting trapped there. Absolutely. You're human. Listen, my gold tooth is ready to be popped in and check somebody. Don't let God, if we gonna reference the Bible and stuff, which I try my best not to very often, but because I deal with people who always reference the Bible, don't tell me what I can and cannot fiercely do, because God turned tables inside the temple. So if he can do it and he made me in his image, don't tell me what I can't do. I got TG food and wine waiting on me. I told my people I'll eat at 2:20. What time? I don't know. Let me figure this out for myself, Colette. I'm going to figure this out. Hold on. You're 3 hours? Oh, because I'm on Eastern time now. Yes. Okay, so you got 3 minutes. All right, perfect, because I got to go. I got to go too. The foundation of self-love is self-compassion, self-grace. Like Maya Angelou said, when you know better, you do better. Do we? We got to start, right? Yes, ma'am. Even if it hurts, even if we think we are negatively impacting other people, you know what? We can't sit and be responsible for other people and where they are. We can't be responsible for where other people are. We can't be responsible for where they're going and how they maneuver through this space. It's not our responsibility. Yes, a girl, I got it's a platinum tooth, and I have it with me. I keep it on lock just in case I need to act up in this joint, because I will do what is necessary. You do not have to defend your walk. Amen. Okay, so y'all, let's wrap this. Thank y'all for jumping on here. But this is why I feel like people date outside of the U.S. And cheers. This is why people date outside. For me, it is not the shallowness of, well, I'm just going to find somebody else because I just think people are better outside. There is a huge world. God did not say I had to be limited to this place that doesn't even want me, who has taught people who look like me to not want me. That is the boundary. That's the jail. That's the sentence, right? That's post-slavery. There's a whole world out there, and I have access to it. So why not access it? I'm about to see what the other side do. Just open it up. Doesn't mean that one doesn't. If something comes and it looks like what I look like, and we're just like, oh, okay, we can do this. Perfect. But what I do know is I'm not holding out for what looks like me anymore. I'm over it. All right, you guys, enjoy the rest of your evening. Cheers to you guys. Happy holidays, and I'll send a happy Friday to y'all mañana. Y'all know the drill. I'm going to get out of here. Toodles and noodles. Peace and hair, grease.